Alright, I'm going to jump into a couple of things in this video that are unrelated on their own, but when you put them together, they really make sense. Anyway, so I'll start with the first thing. So we're going to zero back in on the far right movement. A lot of people might be familiar with what's been going on college campuses when conservative speakers are trying to go there and talk. So, I mean, if you've seen any of these crazy videos, I mean, whether it's Ben Shapiro, Ann Colt, or Milo Yiannopoulos, any of these guys, what you'll watch their videos, and if they have protests there, they'll sit there and they'll scream and they'll disrupt the whole thing. And you go in the comments, everybody is getting mad, saying blah blah blah, whatever. People in the video are getting mad. Then it kind of becomes a troll fest, essentially. And so we go, okay, that's what they're doing. That's not good because they're trying to shut down free speech. So that's not okay, and we condemn that, and we go, shame on you, shame on you. And then we blame the colleges, and we blame the left, and we blame the media, and we blame everybody, and we go, look at what you guys are doing. You're trying to shut down free speech. And that's our trump card. So we have the moral high ground because we're fighting for the First Amendment, we're fighting for the Constitution, we're fighting for America. And within the past week, I think it was last weekend from here, I'm kind of fuzzy on my weeks because they meld together sometimes. The play that's being held is Caesar, and what happens is, well, not what happens, but it means the play is Caesar. They dress up as Donald Trump, and Caesar's wife looks a lot like Melania Trump. And then they kill Donald Trump, and people are like, yeah, whatever. And it's an obvious jab at Trump. People want to kill Trump. That's obvious. People wanted to kill Obama. I mean, it's just there. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't. I mean, regardless if it's right, wrong, or indifferent, it is what it is. What are you gonna do? Just okay. Anyway, so what happened is there were some people there. And they some conservatives, far right, whatever they were there, and they were shouting, and they stormed the stage, and there was a guy calling people grubbles, and then I've been listening to people talk about it, and my click moment was when they called them far right snowflakes, and I was like, it clicked in my head, and I'm like, this is the same exact things that they do at the college campuses when we go, shame on you for trying to shut down free speech, shame on you for yelling and trying to interrupt and interfere with my First Amendment right. And here we are doing it, the exact same thing that, well, not we, this is officially the far right. Well, I'm gonna peg it over there. That's where I'm tossing the ball. We got people on the right doing the same exact things that we condemn, and that we shame, and that we shun. And you have to ask yourself, how did we get here? How do we go from this is violating our First Amendment right, we should shame on you, to let's do the exact same thing? So when we make fun of millennials, and we make fun of them for being snowflakes, and we call them the left snowflakes, SJWs, all of a sudden we got SJWs and snowflakes on the right now. This is the same thing, and this ties in directly to my last video when I said the regressive left and the far right they essentially do the same things. Now they are there. This is the stamp of approval. This is all that anyone needed to go, yeah, these are the same people. They have the same strategies, the same plans. They just have different ideologies. And I mean, regardless of what your ideology is, if you go about it in a way, that's what people are going to look at you for. Look at you. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So it doesn't matter if when you're interrupting college speeches and you're just yelling and trying to talk over everybody, it doesn't matter what you're saying. Even if you're the most justified, morally superior person in the entire world, and you're yelling and trying to shut someone down just because you don't agree with what they're saying, nobody cares. Nobody cares what you have to say, because they go, oh wow, this looks a lot like what a fascist would do. They would try to shut this down. They don't want to hear opposing viewpoints. So I mean, you could be completely 100% in the right. You're wrong now. You're wrong because you're trying to put your voice above somebody else's and snub them out and saying you're not allowed to have that voice. It's pretty much a thought police. It's that you're not allowed to have that voice here because I said so, or because we said so. We're the overwhelming majority, or we're the final say. I'm sorry, I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what your opinion is on anything. The final say is whatever the Constitution says. So the Constitution doesn't say that the left voice is right or the right voice is right. It says freedom of speech. That's what it says. And it's almost impossible to argue with that. And so so if you're on the right, these guys, do I agree with portraying as Donald Trump and stabbing him and wanting to kill Donald Trump? No, I don't agree with that at all. Why? What's the point? What are you accomplishing? You're just trying to feed into people and go, yeah, everybody should hate Donald Trump just like us, and we should all want to kill him. No, I don't agree with that. But what am I going to do? I'm going to go up there and go, I don't like this, please stop. And no, they're not going to stop. So I'm not going to go over there. I'm not going to go there and try to shut them down. I mean, that's the same thing. That's the same fascist strategies that the left uses. So we're doing now, officially the right is doing the same thing that the left is. So the reason I'm coming so hard down on the far right, and this is my second point, is because I am a conservative. I think it is important, and it is very, 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 very important that conservatives point out that whatever the far right is doing is not okay. And we need to make sure, because when people look at the far right, they go, that's what conservatives are about. That's what Republicans are about. That's not good. And there's conservatives like me that go, I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with what's going on the stage with the play, but I don't agree what they're doing. I don't think they should be shutting that down. Okay, have your dumb play. I don't care if it doesn't affect me. It does not affect me. But these guys over here, that does affect me. What they are doing does affect me, because it affects conservatives, because that's not what conservatives are about. Conservatives are about the First Amendment. They are not about shutting down speech, regardless if you don't agree with it or whatever it may be. Regardless if it's pretending to stab Donald Trump, whatever. Is it good? Probably not, but I mean, whatever. Let them do it. Let them do it. Until the point when somebody goes, I'm going to kill Donald Trump, or I want to kill Donald Trump, or somebody tries to actually kill Donald Trump, does not matter. I don't care. Does not matter. Nothing matters. So, I mean, at least they're just pretending. Like, I leave it at that. Just leave it at that. And that's why it's so important and to come down on these guys. And I definitely wanted to take a moment to clarify what I'm about, because I know I come on here and I say that I'm coming from a conservative viewpoint and everything, but I feel like some of the things I've said may or may not have been wishy-washy. I stand behind them, but the way that I probably said them out of nervousness or whatever may have not come off how I really wanted them to. But I am a conservative. I hold strong conservative values that don't align with everything that Republicans believe. They don't align with what the far right believes. They constitutional conservatism. That's a hard word to say for me. That's what I'm about, and that's where I want to be coming from. So when I don't come down and say, wow, the left is really retarded because they did this, it's because yeah, I don't agree with what you're doing or what you're saying, but I don't have a problem talking about it. It doesn't bother me, and I really do want people to come on this show and talk to me about it. And that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm not trying to come off super aggressive. So when people do come on, they're just not expecting just this attack, because I'm not an offensive person, or offensive person. I just want to talk. Anyway, back to the issue at hand. Also, another thing, almost forgot. This is political. I mean, I do take a look at culture. Culture is cool, but I think a lot of what our culture is stemming from does tend to stem from politics right now. So I definitely want to take a look at what our politicians are doing. I mean, even look at Facebook newsfeed. I mean, that used to be just random nonsense stuff that people were into, just like video games and movies, and it was just kind of all over the place. It is nothing but just actual like politics and what Donald Trump is doing and whatever Jeff Sessions is doing on that day. And there's literally just like politicians in the headlines all the time, and I don't have mine customized at all. It just is whatever's showing up, and I think a lot of our culture is starting to pay attention to what politics are doing now. I think it's fun to fight culture, but I don't think it gets very far, because culture is essentially reactionary, which is essentially what the far right is. They're just a group of people who are really reactionary, and that's why they do the same things that the left does, because the left is reactionary. The far right is reactionary. Nobody is sitting down to take a moment to think about what they're actually doing and figuring out what is the best way to go about handling this issue. Let's say they sat down for 5 minutes, and that group that went to the play said, what the best course of action to confront this play be to storm the stage and shout at everyone and attack everyone, essentially. I mean, not like physically attack, but just call people names and stuff. Was that the best course of action? Did that do anything for their cause? Nope. Didn't do anything for their cause, the same way it didn't do anything for the left's cause when they protested and shut down events, prevented events from even happening to begin with. So if it's not okay for the left, if we're going to sit there and we're going to shame the left for when they do it, we should not be doing it on the right. It's just plain and simple. If we're going to hold the moral superiority of the First Amendment, we shouldn't be trying to shut down their First Amendment right, regardless if you don't agree with them. But that's what I'm trying to say is it's important. It's important to see culture and see what's going on within it, but it's reactionary at the end of the day. It's reactionary to what the current events are going on in today's society. And what's going on in today's society comes from politics. You can see it with, obviously, media. You can see it with the way that celebrities are being more and more political every year. It just seems like we're just getting more and more celebrities who know nothing about politics jumping into politics. You can see it through our social networking sites, just how heavily invested they are into politics. I mean, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. And it makes sense. If a lot of these guys are in California, Silicon Valley, things like that, and they're surrounded by other leftists, is what you grow up around. That's fine. But you're pushing that onto everyone else. That's where we got to go, what are you guys doing? And it's their stuff, and they can do whatever they want. We just got to weigh the pros and cons of how much we're going to actually tolerate of it. Regardless, social media, celebrities, media, education system, let me say it again, education system they're just so heavily involved in politics. So everybody's getting they're getting a very healthy dose of politics right now, regardless if they're actually paying attention to it and reading into it. They're hearing about it, and so you have a lot of reactionary people out there from both sides, regardless if it's some guy listening to what's going on in college campuses and just going, oh, the left's always doing that, and not actually seeing what's going on. I mean, maybe they have a legitimate gripe. Let's say they have a legitimate gripe. We look into it. What are they mad about? Let's say one of those protesters were actually justified and they had a good reason. Let's say, I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. Let's say somebody invited the current Grand Dragon of the KKK, of the Ku Klux Klan, to come talk and have a good old speech on why the KKK is awesome and stuff. That'd be a legitimate protest. I'd be like, you know what? I mean, I'm not for shutting down free speech, but if you want to protest keeping that nonsense away from school, awesome. Go for it. But when you're going to equate the leader of the KKK, Grand Dragon of the KKK, to Ben Shapiro, who's an Orthodox Jew, then your argument's gone. If you're going to call him a white supremacist, and he's not going there. He does. I mean, and if you listen, he doesn't sit there and he goes, we need to kill everyone and we need to fight and we need to beat people. He just goes there and he says his opinion. That's it. And it's all to do with policies or something, or nothing towards anyone. These are not personal attacks. So, and that's the huge difference, is you got to look at content. You got to actually read what's going on, because when you just sit there and you're just reactionary to everything, you're gonna do what the left is doing. Because don't get me wrong, because that's a great thing about the cultural war now, is the left is losing. The left is losing. Ben Shapiro talked about that. They are losing, but we're not winning. They're just losing. They're just loud and obnoxious, and everybody's like, okay, we get it, shut up. But they're not looking over to the right and seeing good things. They just aren't. And that's because we got people like the far right over there just being the far right. And it's really hard. It's really hard enough to fight in the cultural war when you've already lost, and you got people who are helping the left lose on your side, making you look worse. So if you're a part of the far right, simmer down, sit in the back, just be quiet. Please do not be the loud majority or the loud minority anymore. Just let us do our thing. Let conservatives fight. We'll fight the long and hard battle, a little bit at a time, every day. Not just trying to just fight fire with fire and just completely demolish everything the left has to say, because we don't have to demolish everything they have to say. You know what? I may not agree with everything that they have to say or all the proposals that they have, but we would get a lot farther if we would sacrifice some of our positioning and get them to sacrifice some of theirs and trade off. No, it's not going to be perfect for everybody, but we live in a way big country, super big. I don't know if you've taken a look at a map, but it's a pretty big country, and you're not going to please everyone. There's no one solution fits all prescription to any one argument. There's just not. So we need to find the one that benefits the most. And if that means sacrificing some positions, by all means, sacrifice. Just find some happy road. Find the places you are not going to budge, and find the places you can budge. And then let the other side find their places that they won't budge and the places that they can budge. I mean, for example, let's say let's take it back a few years. Let's say gay marriage was still illegal and that was an issue. Let's say we sign, because you know what, gay marriage, super irrelevant, no one cares anymore. No one cares. No one should have cared in the first place, because government. Because who cares? That's all I'm gonna say about that. Who actually cares? Say, okay, we'll give you free legal gay marriage, or not free gay legal. We'll give you gay legal marriage, and you guys can have that. But abortion, 100% illegal, with maybe like extremely rare cases where the mother is going to die or some like extremely rare. Then we have then look, that's a trade-off, and we can have that trade. And you know what? We didn't get all the things we wanted, but we got something that was super important to us. We got something that was very important to us, and they get something that's very important to them. And I think that's important. So we found something we could budge on, and we found something we couldn't budge on. And we can do this all day long. We have all the time in the world, but just sitting there and fighting with each other, trying to get every single one of your points, you're gonna lose all day long. And you know what? And that's what America is. That's what America's been for the last 8 years. It's probably what it's gonna be for the next 4 years, at the least. So we need to get together, and this is not just on the right. This is on the left. I have talked to a person who said that they will not even, they cannot talk to people on the right, and they will not talk to people on the right. And I said, you can't get anything done then. You're not going to get anything fixed. Did not care. Just said, well, I guess nothing's going to get fixed. He'd rather nothing get fixed just to not talk to our side. And regardless if that's on, I don't know if it's on him or on me. From my perception, it was on him, because he was just being stubborn for the sake of being stubborn. He also said that people who voted for Donald Trump, he can't find a way to associate with him because David Duke voted for Donald Trump. That's honestly 100% truth, because a racist supported Donald Trump, and I voted for Donald Trump, or she voted for Donald Trump. They're racist by association of association. Like, that's sad. That's sad when you can't have that conversation because of some minute detail like that. And going out and screaming all these random things, racist, bigot, cuck, whatever, you're just making it worse. You're not making anything better. And the more you do it, the harder it's going to get. Until one day we're going to have a breaking point and we're going to kill each other. And I do not put it past us. I don't at all. If civil war breaks out and we start killing each other, I won't be surprised a single bit, because there has been no effort to try to work with each other. None whatsoever. It's just discourse and anger and just hatred. And the more you hate and the more you get mad, the closer you're going to get to wanting to kill someone, and the closer you're going to get to fighting. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, the left's pretty much already there. They're literally almost already there, because you see it. They go, it's okay to punch a Nazi. Okay, how do you argue with that? How do you argue not punching a Nazi? And now, but you get to define who a Nazi is, or what a Nazi does, or what they think about. So you have conservative viewpoints. You're a Nazi now. I'm gonna go punch you. You're protesting for Donald Trump. You're protesting for a border wall. You're a Nazi because you want to keep Mexicans out. Punch, violence. That's where we're at. It's okay to punch a Nazi. It's okay to be violent towards who you deem a Nazi. And I mean, you can be triumphed as a hero. Yeah, you punched a Nazi because this is why I thought he was a Nazi, and everybody was, yeah. And what I'm worried about and is the other side, because the far right, if they follow the path that they are, which is doing everything exactly that the left is doing, they're gonna go, it's okay to attack a fascist. That's what they're gonna say. That's what they're going to say. They're going to equate leftists as fascists, and they're gonna say it's okay to attack a fascist. And you know what? I'm not worried about left all the time, because there have been studies that say that men on the left are not as manly, for lack of a better term, as men on the right. Men on the right, they're bigger, they're stronger, and they believe in the Second Amendment. And that should be terrifying. So we really need to get that under control. Alright, sorry about the long video. This has been bottling up for probably about a few days now, so I had to get it off. Thanks for listening.